Well, hello there, Dippers, and welcome back to Game 20 of the Ducks on the Pond podcast. As always, I'm your host, Drake, and I'm joined by the producer, the man, Leighton Pip Chavantone.
Alex Cora, my manager, soon to be my president.
And sitting in today is also Lex Glasgow.
Matt Carpenter and Jesus are one and the same.
The similarities are uncanny.
They are uncanny.
Both are carpenters.
Both are carpenters, both have beards.
I love it. So, Dippers, be sure to listen to every episode. Listen to the Sauce on the Side Mothership Show, which will be tomorrow. Listen to Knuckle Sandwich every Thursday. And we will be introducing a new, it's technically an old show, with the Fantasy 15, which will break down all of your fantasy football knowledge that you need to have. So we're gonna get to a few topics here. We're gonna talk a little bit about position players pitching. We're gonna talk about some last minute trades and Mike Scioscia stepping down as the manager of the Angels at the end of the season. But before we get to any of this, Leighton C, you know what to do.
Hey, Ducks on the Pond here, kid. Ducks on the Pond. Let's go now, baby. Drive 'em in. Welcome to Ducks on the Pond.
A Sauce on the Side production. All right, so I hinted at it earlier. We'll start it off with position players pitching. Guys, we've seen a steep rise in the amount of position players used to finish up blowouts this season. Pablo Sandoval, Jose Reyes, Anthony Rizzo, just a few examples of guys who have come in to mop up games for the respective ball clubs. People around the league are trying to get the union to actually take action against this. Do you think this is bad, or do you think this is good for baseball? And whichever way you lean, what do you think they should do for this?
I think that it's not very good for baseball. I mean, we got pitchers that this is what they do for a living. You know, they're out there. We raise them since they're, 10 years old to come into the major leagues and pitch. Okay? You have one job, go in there and get outs. Okay? You're going to get knocked around every now and then. But if you're struggling, you're still supposed to be able to get outs. You know, the sign of good pitchers is when you don't have your best stuff, can I still get outs? And these guys aren't obviously doing that very well when we've got position players pitching. You know, you got to have an innings eater on the roster. You don't need position players. Get rid of it. Do better. Don't ever do it again.
It makes sense to me, though, because, the whole idea, they want to save the bullpen and down by 14 runs. They don't want to base the bullpen on. But that's why you have bullpen on, so you can do that. I don't know if MLB needs to add another roster spot so they can carry another bullpen pitcher or what, but I know whenever Jose Reyes pitched, he allowed 2 home runs and hit 2 home runs in the same game. That shouldn't ever be a thing to have happen.
No, I hate this, honestly. I think that the game should all be about fun, but whenever it gets that deep into that, it almost gets unwatchable. And it was always fun watching the position players pitch whenever you saw it 3 times in a season. Whenever a guy would come in, it's okay, this is kind of fun. But I know the Cubs had position players pitch twice in 1 week. They ended up coming back and winning one of those games, actually. But it's just not a good look. And I think what it's really going to take is whenever, a guy like Anthony Rizzo, who is a staple and a big piece of your team from the offensive side of the plate, ends up getting hurt pitching. Because this is they're not used to this. And pitching, like we've said time and time again, is one of the most unnatural motions a man can have in professional sports. And, these pitchers are geared to do this every single day. They've trained their bodies to do it. And then you're throwing a guy out there like Rizzo, who may throw a ball hard twice in a game, playing first base, out there pitching. It's going to take one of those guys getting hurt for managers to finally say, okay, enough's enough. We're not going to even play with this anymore. And they're kind of playing with hot water, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's an analytics of baseball. Why base it on? You don't have to.
And an MLB team should never score over 20 runs in a game. That should never happen. An MLB pitcher should never give up that much. That should never happen.
Bad day.
That's more than a bad day.
That's an entire It's a entire bullpen having a bad day.
That's just not good for baseball.
Yeah, well, I know that the Astros hung up a lot on the Dodgers the other day, but Kenta Maeda, I think he'd only allowed 1 run through 5 innings, and then all of it came against the bullpen. I think he ended up allowing a 2-3 run bomb in the inning that basically the wheels fell off the wagon. But I just think it's a bad look. Do you think that they're going to end up implementing a rule, or do you think that it's going to take a guy getting hurt?
It would take a guy getting hurt or the player union really stepping up and challenging MLB to change something about how the roster is constructed.
I don't think they'll ever implement a rule on it.
It would almost be too hard because you look like a guy like Ohtani, you know?
Yeah. I just think that, it comes back to do your job. Do better.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I just, it was fun when it happened once or twice in a season, but now that it's just every week we see it, it's just a bad look. So we have some last-minute trades to kind of discuss, some big names getting thrown around there. Chris Archer is heading to the Pirates. Tyler Glasnow and Austin Meadows are now Rays. Guys, what does this trade make for the respective ball clubs?
For the Pirates, they get a pitcher who had not been as good was early in his career, but he's had the stuff to be great, and he's on team control through 2021. And the Rays just start the rebuilding process. They trade for not only the Rays trade for Glasnow, Meadows, they trade for Tommy Pham, which the whole Rays didn't make no sense to me at all. Because they traded for Tommy Pham, then traded away Chris Archer, Wilson Ramos, and then they got more prospects. So I don't know what the Rays' overall plan is. The Rays plan to be mediocre to the end of time.
The Pirates, they needed a pitcher. They're trying to make a postseason push. But I just don't see the whole Chris Archer thing and giving up the prospects they did. They got rid of Garrett Cole for guys that are just kind of contributors at the beginning of the year. But Garrett Cole ran the NL Central when he was there. Teams did not want to play him. And now you see that now in the American League. Teams don't want to play him there. They got rid of him for nothing. They got Chris Archer, who's had a mediocre year. He got knocked around by the Cardinals last night.
Yeah.
Okay? First outing as a Pirate. Gets knocked around by the Cardinals. You don't want that against your division rivals at all.
No, I agree. And I just doesn't really make sense to me. Like you said, it looked like they were sellers at the beginning of the year, and then, they had that 11-game win streak, and then all of a sudden, we're going to turn things around. We're going to go out and get Kello to bolster the bullpen, and we're going to get Archer. The Archer trade kind of makes sense to me, and just for the fact that, he is under team control, I think, to like 2021. Mm-hmm. So if your team doesn't make the postseason this year, next year it'll help. But what the Rays are doing is just kind of questionable. Isn't Pham, he's a free agent at the end of the season, right? It's either this year or next.
I'll find out, but he just fractured his foot like they got him.
Yeah, that's
and
not
well, the thing about the Chris Archer trade, the Pirates have him under team control for what, 3 more years, I think?
Yeah.
I think that's a good look. They had got him under control. They didn't have Cole under control after this year, but Cole, Archer, who do you want on your team?
Right.
I want Garrett
both?
Cole.
They could have easily
got both. But, the fact that they gave up Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow. Austin Meadows, when he came up to the league, he just came out on fire, and he hit that slump like all young guys do. All young guys, they hit that slump. But I just don't like it. I'd rather have my prospects than Chris Archer.
Yeah, I think so too, especially since there's so many teams in the race in the NL, and all of them think that they have a chance. I just don't think that the Pirates did enough to ultimately make it into the postseason this year. Do you guys think they're going to be in the postseason?
No, I don't, but I think this is a move more looking forward through 2021 than just this season.
Yeah. See, I don't think they'll make it, but if they're going to make a move like this, they should have done the offseason. They should have went out and got a guy that could, maybe not Chris Archer, someone else that's going to get him there, and kept their prospects. I just don't like the move at all.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, to be quite honest. But we'll know by the time 2021 rolls around whether or not this pays off. So kind of odd here. Mike Scioscia, he's decided to step down at the end of the season. I really don't know why they would, announce it at the middle of the year like this. Maybe just to kind of, allow people the opportunity to, hey, if you're going to go see Scioscia manage a game, this would be the time to do it. Maybe just to sell tickets. Managed the Angels for 18 seasons. Has a .53 win percentage as a manager. Won the 2002 World Series. 2-time Manager of the Year. Guys, what do you look at his career as the manager of the Angels? Do you think it was a success? And do you think this is the right move by the Angels organization to move past him?
Far career goes, obviously he had some really high highs. He went to 2002 World Series, 10 Man of the Year. A lot of good teams, but then the Angels were bad for a long time. So then high highs and low lows for Mike Scioscia. Both are really good baseball mind, and one of the better managers in baseball. I couldn't find a reason why he was stepping down, so I'll be interested to see when that comes out, maybe for health issues or whatever. Maybe he can't take the pressure anymore of having the best player of possibly could be of all time and not make the playoffs with him. Maybe Otani's killing him too.
Otani's not killing him. See, he had some good years there with the Angels. Back in the early 2000s, old John Lackey out on the mound screaming the F word when he's getting taken out of the game.
Those are the best.
That's good.
Those are the best times. But, we live in a society, what have you done for me lately? He hasn't done anything for them lately. He took them to the playoffs, one time with Mike Trout?
I think 3 or 4 years ago.
And they got, swept right out of it? Maybe 1-1.
I think the wild card game.
Yeah, right out of it, It's about what have you done for me lately? And he hasn't done anything for him, And they've got Mike Trout. So the sense of urgency is kind of there. Hey, we need to get the ball rolling here a little bit. We don't want him to get out of our control and get out of L.A.
Right. I look at Scioscia very similar to how I looked at Matheny. Like, he put together a couple good years, and he really never had terrible years. Like, if you look at his career, they were basically just an average good ball club, basically his whole entire career. He only had one season where he got 100 wins, and in his long tenure, they only had less than 80 wins 3 times. So that's pretty impressive. But you look at it, not having those spectacular seasons where you're over 100 wins all but one time in your career, that's not that great. And he's just basically been average. And this is a team that has the best baseball player in the league, obviously. And then they got Otani, who, has been a rough guy to manage. So it's kind of odd that they'd make this transition now, right whenever it seemed like, he was actually managing Otani well, finding success for him, figuring out when to rest him, when to use him. So I look like next year they're basically going to be hitting the restart button on managing Otani because Scioscia kind of had the game plan laid out for him. Mm-hmm. And maybe they will listen to what he had to say this year and kind of use him the same way to try to avoid the big-time injuries. But Scioscia overall has just been another guy, kind of just been average. I mean, he was kind of hot early in his career, but they've had some mediocre years. I won't call him bad because he had, 3 seasons under 80 wins. But, good career. I wouldn't call it great, though.
So what you're saying is he was good when he had Vlad Guerrero, and then he was a good game when he had Mike Trout.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, those are 2 very important
Something makes sense there.
So
there's that correlation.
Going back to the Otani thing you just said with Scioscia, I think it's good if the Angels with a guy like Otani switch managers now. Don't switch it later on down the road and have him just get out of sync. Get somebody else in there so that way they can learn how to deal with him and then move on from there.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see who they hire for the managerial job next year, whether they go outside of the ball club or try to keep it in-house. That way, they can have an idea of how Otani was managed and kind of have a leg up on next season. But this will actually transition us nicely to the Otani watch. So last week, he channeled his inner Joey Gallo, but this week, he channeled his inner Aaron Judge. He hit .313 this week with 3 home runs, 2 coming, 2 nights ago, and 6 strikeouts and 16 plate appearances. Guys, what do you make of this week for Otani?
I'm happy he figured out how to hit a baseball again. Happy keeping his eye on the ball and really swinging through the ball. And yeah, I like Otani a lot. Like, we know this. I hope he does good.
Yeah.
It'd be good for baseball if he did well, but I still think he needs to have his surgery. Nothing's going to change for me until he gets that done, and we can move on from all this.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we're just treading water. Like, we are seriously treading water. 16 plate appearances in the week. It doesn't make him an everyday player, so I don't know if they're just rehabbing it and seeing if he will ever be able to throw without having the surgery, but I still feel like we're treading water. I mean, it's good that he's hitting the home runs, has over a 300 batting average, but until everything comes out about his injury, I'm not going to be satisfied with Otani.
Yeah, I want to see him pitch.
Yeah, I agree.
And back to what Luke was saying, like, he had the surgery because this season's done, and they're not playing him every day. He had 2 pinch hit appearances last week, the only time he played. So I don't know what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm very confused. So we'll get to anything more than a fallacy here. Guys, this is basically where we tell you, will a guy be able to sustain the numbers that he has so far? This guy's been hot lately. Is he going to be able to keep it up? Or a guy's slumping so bad, is he going to look like this for the remainder of the season? And we'll start it off. As the weather heated up, so did quite a few bats. And we'll start off with Matt Carpenter. He had 11 home runs in the month of July, putting his total at 29. Lex just showed me that, was it a leadoff home run?
It wasn't a leadoff home run to start the game. It was in the 5th inning, but he just hit another one.
Yeah, he had another one. So Matt Carpenter's total is at 30 now. Guys, can he keep this up and reach 45 home runs this season?
I don't see him reaching 45 home runs, but I don't see the bat slowing down anytime soon. He's always been an extra base hit machine. And you go back and look at his career, he's always heated up as the weather heated up. You know, get into summer, get into they call it the dog days of summer for a reason. Some guys cool down, some guys heat up. He's one of those guys that heat up, and he's making a strong push. You know, I don't think the Cardinals get in the playoffs, but if they do, if he keeps it up, could he be in the MVP consideration?
I think he absolutely could be, but the first half of the season was just, or the first month of the season was just.
Giancarlo last year.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, he's going to make it. He is going to put his name right in the hat with him if he keeps this up for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I actually do think he'll get 45 home runs. Can you think about it? It's only, 7 this month, 8 next month, and vice versa. He has too much at 15 home runs. I think he can do it.
Yeah.
I'm putting how high as he is.
I think his cap is at 45. I think he could get 45. I don't see him going over it at all, but I see him getting at least 40. So I think he's going to be right in that 40 to 45 range. But Matt Carpenter, I kind of have a theory to why he was so bad to start the season. And Lex, I want your input on this. Do you feel like Matt Carpenter has kind of changed his approach this season? And the reason why he was so bad early on in the season was because his approach was completely different, and now he's just kind of found the groove to that new approach.
Well, I don't really think his approach was the change. I think a lot of it was they shuffled him around in the lineup. You know, a lot of times he was hitting third. Sometimes I think one game he hit fifth, and then they finally. He's always done best in the leadoff spot.
Oh, absolutely.
He's always been the best leadoff hitter the Cardinals had. Okay? I don't know why they didn't just leave him there. Matheny thought that he needed to be a 3-hitter. You know, and now Mike Schilt thinks Paul DeJong needs to be a 3-hitter. I'm not going to talk about that, but...
Lex, you just hate all the Cardinal managers.
I love Mike Schilt, actually.
Okay.
I like him a lot. But Carpenter, I don't think his approach changed. I just think it was just trying to settle in where am I going to be hitting. You know, that dictates where they pitch.
Just consistency.
Yeah, consistency. You got to be consistent, okay? Baseball's a game of consistency. We're creatures of habit, basically. I think he's finally found the groove. That's all it had to be. You know, a guy like Carpenter, you give him a little taste of success, then he just takes off and runs with it.
Yeah, no, he's been absolutely on fire. Yeah, he absolutely. I think he killed the Cubs in one series by himself, and that was not fun to watch.
He's killed a lot of teams lately by himself.
Yeah, he's been an animal. But I think 45 is the cap. Possibly make it, though. Cole Calhoun. This one's odd. He hit 10 home runs in the month of July, and he hit 322 overall. He has finally got his batting average up above 200. He's hitting 206 as of today, which is pretty eye-opening whenever you see how hot he was last month. Before last month, he only had 4 home runs and was hitting 162. Guys, will he be tested for PEDs before the end of August?
I think it always has to be.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. There's no way we can sit back and watch this guy go from shit to God and be like, okay. Nah, he got bad baseball overnight.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
He turned on his NBA playoff switch.
I don't see the PED test coming. I mean, he's in LA with Mike Trout. They need their best player in the playoffs.
That's true. That's true.
Let's wait till the end of the year to test him. Let him get off and then come back.
Dude, this reminds me of changing sports a little bit. Do you remember in football, Pat McAfee, playing for the Colts, fucking trucked that dude.
Big hit.
Trucked that dude, took to the Turner.
Yeah, but Trenton Holiday was only 5'6".
Well, we got it, trucked him, and then the next day he got
they ran his front door with a test.
I can't remember who else it was. They ended up setting the record for the NFL for the farthest NFL field goal. The next day he got tested for PEDs.
I do remember that. Yeah.
So this is going to be Cole Calhoun on the hot seat. He's going to be tested. We'll talk about that, I guess, in 2 weeks.
When it comes out that he failed a PED test.
Yeah. No, but he's been absolutely on fire. But how crazy is that he hit 322 last season, and he's finally above 206? That is crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, he's terrible. The fact that he plays every day.
Yeah.
I bagged 162. Just blow my mind.
Yeah, the fact that they're just yep, we're going to go back to the well. Cole, go out there, take the field, with your 162.
Maybe that's why Mike Scherzer stepped down. Man, I've been in Cole Calhoun all season long. He had 162. I suck at this now.
Yeah.
No wonder we're not in the fucking playoffs.
Yeah, I've lost my stride. So another player that's been extremely hot, Christian Yelich, hit 400 in the month of July. Now leading the NL with a 326 average. Guys, he's the leader in average right now. Will he win the NL batting title?
I think he's gonna win the NL batting title. I mean, I think what's the next closest guy like?
Freddie Freeman is
Like-
.01 away.
.01 away. I mean, I think he'll get it. I mean, that's what he does. He's a contact hitter, so he's always putting the ball in play. Winning the batting title, it's not like what it used to be. It's just not a big deal anymore.
Yeah, everybody wants the home run title.
Everybody
now.
wants the home run title, which I'll go on about sometime, but I'm not a big fan of these 180 hitters hitting 40 home runs a season. That's not baseball to me. That's just showing up trying to take a daddy hack and hit a home run. That's not baseball.
So tell me that you don't like Joey Gallo.
I hate
That 194 with 30 home
I
runs.
do not like Joey Gallo.
Dude, Joey Gallo would be the worst guy to have on your team.
Dude, he hit the best job in baseball, though. He shows up to work. He has one thing to do: hit the ball out of the park.
Yeah,
It
but
doesn't matter if he hits the ball in play. They don't care. Just hit the ball with the fence.
That's not baseball. That's kind of ruining baseball, in my opinion.
yeah, but if you don't, those like 5 swings a month that he does go yard on, like, if those aren't there, he's out of a job.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the worst job to have. I would rather just walk into the park every day, know that I'm a good hitter, and just like pop singles everywhere, and you really don't have the pressure on you to, yank one out of the yard.
I don't know, man. I feel like it would be easy just to focus on one thing and just treat about it as hard as you possibly can.
That's tough. I do think he's going to win the batting title, though. I think that he will. I think Corey Dickerson and Freddie Freeman are the closest. Both are .01 away. And Yelich has been on fire. And, adding bats into the rotation with him is going to help. It's going to do nothing but help. They got Moustakas. So I think that he's in a good enough lineup offensively that he can continue to have this success and still see pitches to hit. So I think he will win the batting title.
See, I think he's going to. Because if it wasn't for this past month, he wouldn't be in first place right now. I think he'll be up there in it, but I think it will be a player like Freddie Freeman, who has bad 315 since day one of the season.
Yeah. It'll be fun to watch, though. It'll be fun to watch these guys perform down the stretch, especially, since both these players are on ball clubs that are going to be making a playoff push. It'll be fun to see who's actually going to win that batting title because both will be dialed in. So if the season ended today, we're going to go ahead and give you who would be in the postseason and who would be left out. So the AL East, the Red Sox, the AL Central are the Indians, the AL West are the Astros, and your wild card teams are the Yankees, who now only hold a 3.5 game lead on the Athletics. Guys, what's going to hold and what's going to change here?
I think the Mariners will take the last wild card spot from the Athletics. But how long has it been since a team other than the Mariners have been in that spot?
It's been months.
Like 10 weeks, 12 weeks?
It's been months.
It's a long time. But yeah, Dick said earlier, the Yankees are 8.5 games out of the division lead and only 3 games out of the wild card lead. Or head of the wild card lead. So they're officially close to being out of the playoffs to win the division.
I don't think anything's going to change as far as the division standings. The wild card, I think the Yankees are going to stay. And the Athletics, the Mariners, and who else is there with them?
I think that's about it.
That's
Because
about it now?
I think the Rays are 9 out at this
The Rays
point.
are 9 out now, so I don't think it's real. I think it's just a flip-flop between those two. Neither one of those teams are threats, in my opinion.
No, I think the Red Sox, Indians, or Astros are all locks. I actually made the bold statement last week as my bold prediction, kind of fast-forwarding to the end of the year, that the wild card game would not be played at Yankee Stadium. And I think I'm going to stick on that. I know that they have a really weak schedule coming up, but, I mean, if you can't hit Rick Porcello and Evaldi, like, who really are you going to hit? Because I know that
Hey,
Rick
Ruben
Porcello...
was Cy Young once.
Yes, that was, like, the biggest... I don't even want to get into that. That was bad.
Who was Cy Young?
Yeah, because,
Sorry, he won games.
yeah, because he had, like, 8 runs of support every single game.
R.A. Dickey won a Cy Young.
Yeah.
Can't hit him for his team. All Dick was lights out that season, though.
Yeah,
He got fucking paid off that season.
But I think the Yankees will. I don't think that the wild card game will be played at Yankee Stadium. I just, the Judge injury and the way that the fans kind of like held the candlelight vigil and got real weird about it was, it almost seemed like they were holding a funeral for their season.
Dude, okay, so I didn't see the candlelight visual thing, and when you first said on the Melton show, I thought you guys were kidding. But then you guys kept saying, like, wait, this had to actually happen. I looked
No,
it
it
up.
did.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, that's weird. That's weird. It looked like they were holding a funeral for their season, and it's going to be a lot to bounce back from that. And whenever he comes back in the lineup, how good is he going to be coming back, especially from like a wrist injury? I think whether it's going to be the Mariners, who will be getting Robinson Cano back, who they said he's going to be DH'd and playing first base, it's going to be a toss-up. I think that the Yankees have a better chance to not make the playoffs than to be in the playoffs. I know that the standings say that now, but I really think that that's true, and it's going to be fun to watch those last wild card teams battle it out because it's really a 3-horse race for that. So the NL, a lot more close. I think every team except 4 actually still has a chance to make the postseason. I think they're only all but 6 games back. The NL East, we have the Phillies. The NL Central, we have the Cubs. The NL West, the Diamondbacks. And the NL wildcard teams are the Braves and the Brewers. Guys, the Dodgers are not on this list. What do we think is going to change by this time next week? And do we see the Dodgers making a push back into this?
Well, right now, the Dodgers really want the Giants to win the division. Like, they're trying to get the Giants to win the division, make me right. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll win the West. I think the East and Central will be the Phillies and the Cubs, and the wild card teams remain the same.
I think the Phillies are going to win the East, Cubs going to win the Central. It's going to be interesting to see who wins the West. I mean, Diamondbacks making that push. They might be there to stay. They've been more consistent than the Dodgers have all year.
Oh yeah. They had that one bad stretch, but other than that, they've been pretty good.
They've been
especially
very
now that they've
consistent.
added bats to the lineup. I like this team a lot more. But the Dodgers, I know they're only a half game back from the Braves right now, but it's not a good place to be in August, being out of the playoffs. I think that the Diamondbacks are going to hold on for the West. I think that, I hate to say it, but this might be our 5 playoff teams. I really think that this could be it, because the Braves, they started to scare me for a little bit, but they've kind of bounced back. But I think Milwaukee, played their worst baseball right around the All-Star break. They were atrocious then. I think the break came at the right time. They finally got things back in order. They're 7-3 in their last 10. I think that they're a lock to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be a wild card team, but every other team is going to be fighting for that last wild card spot. But I think that the Braves are going to hold on. The Dodgers, it's almost like they're too talented to be left out of the playoffs this season, but anything can happen. I mean, it is baseball. So, guys, little views from the cheap seats. What are we looking forward to this week?
Here in about 4.5 hours, they probably take the mound against the shithole Yankees to complete the 4-game streak of the Yankees and push them 9.5 games back.
I'm anxious to see how the Osuna deal affects the Astros. Him being reinstated today, how's that going to affect the way the Astros play for the rest of the season? That's a big distraction. And he's got a court date in September, right before the playoffs.
Yeah, that's big. And, whenever you go into another team's ball club or into another team's stadium, do you think they're going to hear it?
Oh, he's definitely going to hear it. The Astros are going to hear it, too. It's not just going to be him. It's going to be the entire Astros organization hearing it from this guy. Okay, get domestic violence out of sports. Get
Yes.
out of here.
I agree. I think that was a terrible move by the Astros, and I think it's even worse that Robinson Cano can't play in the postseason, but Osuna can. That's absolutely terrible. What I'm looking forward to is seeing. I'm basically going to be locked in on the Yankees this week. I want to see what happens with this team. They do play against. They face Price today. Probably going to lose that game, but then they face the White Sox for a 3-game stretch. And then they face the Rangers for a 4-game stretch. So, they have 7 games against bad teams that are coming up within this next week. I want to see where they are in the wild card standings by next week. I think it's going to be surprising. I don't see them just going through like this Yankees team. If we said that they were playing the White Sox and the Rangers earlier on the season, well, there's 5 wins right there. Like they're going to mow these teams down. I want to see how they respond. Taking the sweep against the Red Sox, no Judge. Let's see if this team can bounce back, and I really don't think that they are. I think it's going to be kind of eye-opening this time next week when we're talking about the Athletics sitting in the driver's seat for the wild card.
Yeah, very well could. Very well could. They're hot.
Guys, anything else before we wrap this bad boy up?
It's Sunday. Matt Carpenter hit a home run. Matt Carpenter, Jesus, one and the same.
And on that note, for Drake, for Leighton, and Lex, Dippers, as always, stay saucy.